Welcome to my humble little office. My name is Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on July 8th, 2023 at approximately 4:21 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the precise philosophies that I personally guide my own life by. So this is not a question of here's a couple of ideas that may work. These are ones that are proven by both myself and quite literally thousands of other people. Now, to be clear, I don't research. I do not go looking things up. This is just life experience, albeit life experience from several thousand years of past life memories. But before I go any further down that road, we have, what have we got here? We should really look at that. We have football cat in the house with the gold. Nathan with the quantum show is in it with the silver. And Jimmy Casino, how you doing? You made it in with the bronze today. Now, of course, as per usual, well, usual for me, we have, where are we? The quantum show here. This is the link to Nathan's live channel. I really encourage you to drop in on his site, listen to what he says. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up and then subscribe to the channel. And share the daylights out of it. Same goes for here. If you do like the stream, do me a favor and give us a thumbs up and then subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit that alarm bell to let you know when the next one's coming out are. Which fortunately in my case, or unfortunately, I'm not sure which, they come out, I'm on usually from Friday through Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Now, Chad, how you doing? Whoa, back up. Chad, how you doing? Glad you can make it. And Joe, I see you're popping through the door right away here. Now, thank you so much, football. I was amazed. We were at 5:05 yesterday, and we might have dropped to 5:04. Woke up this morning, I'm sitting at 5:16. I am trying to get the shorter videos out. But unfortunately, I'm having a problem with my onboard sound system. No idea why. Still working on that. But I will be getting to the shorter videos now. Finally figured out how to do it. I can get the videos working. However, this said, I'm not about to be ending the live stream. But the reason I decided to go with how do we change the tide of society today? Oh, before I go down that road, if you've got a question, even if it is not in the topic that we're talking about right at the moment, just give us a waving hand, put your questions all in bold, something that I can find in the middle of this. Because I'll tell you, I do not spot them as quick as I would like. I can look straight at them and miss them, which really begs the question how I managed to drive. Or more to the point, how I managed to drive without running into things. But with that in mind, what do we got going on here? So, how do we go about changing the tide? Well, here's the thing, and this is why I brought up the idea of why I decided to go with the idea of reinitiating a newsletter. You see, scientifically, and this is something that other people have tested, it turns out that when people read something, they tend to read or say something. People tend to remember the first thing said or the first thing written and the last thing said or written. So with that in mind, I've modified the way I was saying the newsletter up. Derek, how we doing? Glad you could join us. I'm really happy to have you here. The nice little part about it is we've got a world that can turn around if we make the effort. Now, I'm going to be tying off the writing of August newsletter, but I did discover a couple of things. I've modified a few things around it. It is growing. I don't know how big it's going to be yet. I got an idea how big it's going to go eventually. But for the time being, with one writer and one additional editor, it doesn't have as much as we might like. Not with all the books I'm writing. But here's the thing. There is so much going on out there, okay, that is definitely negative. I mean, there's a lot of bad things happening. A lot of things that people are focusing on that are not conducive to a bright tomorrow. Okay, like for instance, I'm not arguing that bad things happen. Okay, they do. But why put them on the front page? Okay, on the front page, or why make it the first thing you read in the morning? Okay, so because here's the other side of that. When we take a look at people that are breaking the law, especially ones that are robbing places, going in, killing groups of people, what a lot of them are doing, and by no means is this just brushing it off saying, oh, they just want attention. Although a lot of the smaller ones, that's exactly what they're looking for. Okay. It may be, as it was pointed out to me by a young lad in the States, the people that are shooting, that are starting the school shootings, are not doing it because they're bored. They're doing it because people are not listening. People being the ones that can actually change the tide, as in the politicians, the religious leaders. These are the people that are not listening to the reality of what's going on. Okay, now do understand, whether we're talking politician, religious leader, CEO of a major corporation, doesn't matter. If people aren't being listened to, things are going to go sour. Okay, now, and that's where this is coming in. So what I've looked at is gone, okay, yes, bad things happen. But I will tell you, the reason I'm not going down that road is because you take a look at every murder that takes place. Just add them up. Don't do that. Let somebody else do that. But I will virtually guarantee that there are more weddings going on, more weddings and celebrations going on than there are murders. Now, funerals, because somebody dies of an old age or something to this effect, yes, it's unfortunate. But as we get older, that does happen. Lord knows I've done it often enough. It gets kind of redundant after a while. But when you start adding it together, yes, there are murders. There is inflation. Now, inflation is easy to stop. Okay, as a matter of fact, I've just contributed to that again. Like I said, like I told you guys before, where it comes to business or personal consulting, I had taken it from 180, dropped it to 90. Now, for ease of mathematics, okay, and ease of finances from my standpoint, okay, just yesterday, I dropped it once again to $20 every 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes or a portion thereof. And the reason for that is because of the fact that, frankly, I can help more people that really require it than I can help if I'm charging $180 for somebody that's struggling to survive to start with. Now, do understand, I'm one of the few people on this in existence, I think, that can legitimately turn around and go, the information I offer people through my consulting, I have about 10, where was it? Guess it was about 10 years ago. I was making as much as $2,500 a session. Sam, how you doing? Glad you could join us. So at $80 a session for something I used to get paid, not 2,500. What was I getting paid? Where is my brain box? Right in front of me. 2,500 divided by 4. $625 for 15 minutes is what I have been paid as much. So what I'm doing now, all that I'm doing here is free. What I do with the newsletter will remain free. Okay, I'm just not interested in doing the other side of it and going, oh look, you looked at me and I said hi, so now you owe me $90. Not going to happen. Okay. Oh, I forgot to hit return. There we go. Now, how did I do that? I don't know. So let's do that one more time here. This is just, as we know, technology and I argue a lot. And correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, but I take it you are going on tonight. Okay. That's just a, just curiosity thing. Oh, nice. That ought to be entertaining. So I may have a hiccup, but I will do my best. I'm expecting someone to have to go over and do a house clearing at somebody's place tonight or tomorrow. Don't know which yet. I got to wait for the phone call. But I do know they're having a bit of a hiccup. Somebody right close to me here, as in physically close by, has this wonderful idea that they've got a demon in their house. Honestly, I doubt very much it's a demon, but I will know that when I get over there. Now, where are we? Just a curiosity thing on my part. Yep. Got to bed last night about 2:30 this morning. Was back up at 5:30. And then went and took a nap from 1:30 to 2:30. So I'm running on 3.5 hours sleep again tonight. Works out kind of nicely from my end. Yeah, there are very few actual demons, and I don't mean daemon are an off-world entity. Okay, a demon is essentially something that the mind creates to handle negative spirits. Okay, and this has been really strongly propagated by the religious factions. Derek, I don't think, well, maybe a 4-hour is a nap. I consider, I've been told that 2.5 hours of sleep is not good. But since the beginning of January, I've been tracking my sleep quite consistently, and I'm averaging just under 5 hours a night since the beginning of the year. An average of just under 5 hours, marking it from midnight to midnight. Okay. Now, the nice part about it, now, let's get back to the issue at hand. How do we go about turning the tide of society? Right now, society is on a downhill slide. You don't even need me to tell you this. Take a look at the postings. And I am a firm believer that 90 to 95% of all entities are decent individuals doing their best to to make things work properly. To not walk on people, to not bully people. Unfortunately, that 5 to 10% of the other end of it are the ones that keep getting broadcast. And this, subtle as it is not my doing. It's not the elite's doing. It is and the reason I say it's not my doing is because I refuse to do it. Okay. I won't take a whole pile of negative stuff and go, here's what somebody did wrong. Here's what somebody did to embarrass somebody. I don't even click these links. Okay. Which means the reason that all of this negative stuff is getting posted is because of the general populace. Let's face it. The elite, yes, they go, this is what I want you to know. This is what I want you to buy. Absolutely. The people that, and I call it elite because they got more money than I do. Of course, you probably have more money than I do. But the people that have incredible amounts of money, they don't bother spending hours upon hours sitting in front of YouTube and posting a bunch of negative stuff. They pay somebody else to do it. And somebody else takes that information and posts it. Okay, now here's the way to start turning society. Okay. Yeah, Nathan says El Paso is in a bubble. What do we got going on here? Oh, yeah. Darren, just hopping back a little. Derek goes, not a nap. I stayed up and finally went to sleep at 2 in the afternoon from the day before. My schedule is way off. I understand that all too well. You know, and then Nathan's going, when I lived in Texas, we were forced into stepping on each other. It's the accepted way of life in El Paso, sadly enough. Well, here's the thing. And this is what I told somebody the other day. They went, well, this is the way that society is working. This is the way the industry runs. That is no longer the way my industry is going to run. Okay, now don't get me wrong. You guys have your own way of looking at the world. But here's where we start. Whenever you're reading something negative, reading it, glancing at it, listening to it, okay, every one item that you listen to something negative about, turn around and make an absolute point of listening or watching or reading to things that are positive. Okay, Eternity, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, by doing this, what we end up with is a very simple situation. You start overbalancing into the positive side of the world. If all of you are doing the same thing, and we pass this on to everybody you know, okay, what you end up with is more and more people going, oh, look, I woke up this morning, and here's the first thing I noticed when I looked out my window. I got birds chattering a mile a minute to each other, and they're getting along. Yes, some of them have a very high-pitched speech pattern, but at least they're getting along. Cowie, glad you could join us. And I really should do this, so we're going to. Of course, I say I should, as in that's my opinion. And since I'm the one in control of what I do, okay, I don't look at other people and go, oh, it's your fault. Like, I remember sitting in a bar one day, and there's nothing wrong with the bar. Okay. Now, by the way, the link I just put up is to Spaced Out Radio. Okay. I've been with them now for over 8 years, the first Friday of every month, discussing UFOs and the alien interactions. Now, with that in mind, just a quick little note, talking about going sideways on myself, although I'm pretty certain you guys are used to that. Some of you anyway. Now, just in case you're not used to it, that's always useful, just in case you're new here, if you have a question that comes up, and even if it's on a topic that we're not talking about at the time, okay, do me a favor, put your question in all caps, or, put a waving hand up, something to get my attention, or I'm going to miss your question. Okay. Now, I did go through the comments this morning, and I don't think this morning. So I haven't been back in tonight. But when you're looking at the negative stuff going on, it does happen. Okay. And thank you so much for that there, Kelly. The reality of it is we have negative things going on. But here's the question I want to ask you. Okay. We know murders happen. We know for an absolute certainty, okay, at least if you've done any sort of even minor research. I got wind a long time ago that most people that are committing some sort of crime, yeah, they definitely are going after it because, well, frankly, they want something they don't want to pay for. But many of them do it to get their 15 minutes of fame. Now, when you think about that, if that is the motivator, even if that's the motivator in only 5% of them, why put that on the front page of your newspaper or the front page of your YouTube channel, of your website, whatever it is? Why put so-and-so ripped off so-and-so? Why put that on the front end? I do agree, it's got to be reported. But if we start focusing on and commenting and reposting the positive things that are going on, we will be a far happier society overall. You don't have to believe me. Give it a shot and see what happens. Okay, now this is something I personally do. I go into a restaurant or grocery store. I do my best to call people by name, and I don't mean call people names, just their own. Okay, the reality is we have a choice. Are you going to focus on the negative, or are you going to focus on the positive? Now, I was on a phone call with Work BC, the government agency that is hopefully supposed to help people. Now, if it works out well, I could end up getting the support that I require, both in the way of training and in the way of financial support while I get this publishing company I'm intending on putting together. Well, it's going to happen. It's not a question of am I doing it. It is a question of it is happening now. I've already got it laid out on paper. I just have to figure out how to make it work. Okay, you have the same option. Now, Nathan, I know this is directed directly to you because, quite frankly, I know you're building a speeder bike. Curiosity. I know you already said the Mercury has arrived. Okay, have you already got your blueprints together for the actual speeder bike you're aiming for? Okay, this is one of those funny little things I'm curious about. This is what I call research. Ask somebody directly, what are you up to? Okay, I was talking to an artist the other day. Okay, or more to the point, I was talking to the parent of an artist. And it turns out I may have somebody. Now, I'm going to be working on a lot of different projects in case you hadn't noticed. But somebody that I know is possibly going to sit down and work with at least one of the coloring books I'm working on. Okay, these are just some of the things that I'm doing to make this happen. Oh, there we go. Nathan goes, for the speeder bike, no. I want to see what the results are from the proof of concept desktop model so I can figure out scale. That makes logical sense. Emmy, how you doing? Glad you could join us. See, I look at it, maybe I'm a little backwards where it comes to engineering. Okay, I consider it engineering when I laid out the ground floor statistics and specs I was looking at for the empire I'm building. I went, here's what I'm aiming at now. Let's scale it down and make certain it'll fit. Okay, make certain we can bring it to fruition. Yeah, Nathan goes, it likely will incorporate either snowmobile or jet ski as a base frame. That makes sense. Because, let's face it. If you're looking at a speeder bike, you don't need the wheels from a motorcycle. But no, that will be really neat to take a look at. And then, I've got things, I got to start sketching things out. I am a lousy artist right now. This does not mean I will remain that way. However, some of you, if you hadn't noticed, there are people out there that are phenomenal artists. I just intend on finding some of them. And maybe you're one of them. Okay, now, when we start looking at the world around you. Are you waking up in the morning and the first thing you're doing is, oh no, another day? Like I was talking to a waitress this morning, and the first words out of her mouth, I can't wait to go home. She had only literally arrived about 15 minutes earlier. Now, I will tell you, if you're waking up in the morning, dreading the day, and that's what you're focusing on, this is a good way to set the energy into a negative spin for yourself. Now, don't get me wrong. Gordana, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Don't get me wrong. With the way the world is right now, if you're waking up in the morning and going, oh, let's listen to the 7 o'clock news, crank. Oh, and so ripped off so-and-so, and the war in such and such a part of the world is getting worse. And I got one this morning. It was brilliant. Apparently, and this is a beautiful rumor out there, apparently somebody's trying to put a force field over the United States. Now, I'm telling you, if you put a force field over the United States and you seal it up, well, that will cure the problem of the United States for the United States, because all of a sudden your oxygen level is going to be cut off because the trees under that dome will not be enough to generate enough oxygen. And it's rumors like this I look at. I'm going like, would somebody mind thinking about the long-term effect of this, or even the short term? Or even the short term. That's the thing we have to look at. When you're reading something and they tell you something that doesn't add up, question it directly. Okay. Now, many people will brush it sideways. I'm one of these weird people. You ask me a question, I will give you a direct answer. Yeah, Gordana, you got it. I mean, I really strongly encourage you to take this to heart. I mean, all of you take this to heart. First thing in the morning, if you've got the opportunity to listen to negative news, don't. It's just that simple. Stop listening to the negative news. If people start looking at it going, oh, you're talking about war? It's happening. I know this. Click. I remember, and as a matter of fact, I know, I'm a bit of a dinosaur. My idea of taking the TV and turning it off is because that's how we used to do it. But Mother Teresa used to get badgered all the time to go to an anti-war rally. And her comment was brilliant. Never will I set foot on the grounds of an anti-war rally. However, you set up a peace rally, and I will be more than happy to do everything I can to arrive. Same as me, I'm not about to discuss how bad a world can be. I have seen worlds get torn apart. Now, I've got memories that date back way further than most of you ever have. Okay, you don't have to believe me. Well, that works, Gordana. Either that or if you can reprogram it so when he turns on the news, it comes on to upbeat music. There's another option for you. Okay, what I like doing when I've got the time, which, let's face it, time for me is a screwy thing. But what I like doing is I'll turn around and I'll turn on really fast-paced dance music. Something that gets the adrenaline going. Not something that annoys me. Bad news for you, Gordana. I don't argue the point he's Aquarius, but I know so many people. Okay, I know one in particular that lives and breathes the negative news. The individual is a Capricorn. I've seen Pisces that do the same thing. This is a global concern, not only 1/12 of the population. Okay, now I'm not debating at all that the information that's out there, the negative information, is bizarre. Okay, it's absolutely depressing. Gordana is just going on to say she's into waltzes and salsa. Now, I don't mind them. My brother was really into the classical. Okay, things like Bach, Beethoven, this sort of thing. Anything that isn't going, shoot your mother, kick your father, run the dog apart. I mean, things like this is just pathetic. Okay, in my eyes. Same as with the news. Now, if you're going to spend an hour listening to the negative news, turn around and listen to 2 hours of upbeat music, of people talking about what they are doing to benefit the area around them. Or better yet, go out and do something that benefits the area around you. One of the best things I find is if I'm out and about, I will turn around and, like I said, I walk into a grocery store, and if I know the people by name, I will absolutely greet them by name. Okay, the most powerful word in the spoken language anywhere. Okay, including in telepathic communication. okay, is an individual's name, the one they actually are given at birth, as it were. Okay. I do not argue with you there at all, Derek. I was actually asked that just this morning about why is it that so many people are dying. Well, people are dying, there's no question. But you think about it, there's a lot of people dying, there's staggering amounts of murder going on, staggering amounts of divorces, we can go on and on. But we have a rise in population. Now, clearly, this means that there are more births going on than there are murders, than there are deaths. Even though a lot of those deaths are just natural. Like we lost, or more to the point, the neighbor of somebody I know very well lost a real good friend of theirs because they were, 96 years old. News, you get older, you sooner or later drop dead permanently, at least for this lifetime. But with all the death taking place, there are more things to celebrate than there are negative things. You think about it. If there is a bank robbery, you've got, let's say you got two banks in the same block, one on either side of the street. One of those banks gets robbed, but you've got another dozen properties that never got touched. Why put the fact there was a bank robber on the front page of the paper? This is something with my newsletter I'm not going to do. Okay. And the reason for that is why start off with, we had a lousy day this morning. Okay. I joke about the issue. People ask how I'm doing. I'm like, I'm alive, which I am. And I'm not looking at suicide by any functional stretch. When we take a look at the amount of damage that your body goes through, okay, bodies get hurt. You get ill. There's no question. But when I got asked today why people don't live longer, with the body built the way it is, and I found this out years ago. The scientific community came across through their own research. Now, rest assured, I'm no geneticist. Okay, but what they discovered was every cell in the human body is replaced every 7 years. Now, if this is the case with the way our bodies were designed and the fact that they can rebuild anything, okay, the person says, why is it people die so young? I'm like, well, it's because of the amount of toxins that are put into the atmosphere. Now, let's be clear about something. If you're turning around and you're reading the negative news and you're reposting the negative news, and I do mean negative as in, you look at Facebook, for instance, and it goes, here are some fails on the red carpet that these actors don't want you to see. Now think about that. This is this idea of, this is forbidden, don't look at this. And I will tell you, I'm absolutely telling you, don't turn around and look at these things that they're telling you are embarrassing for somebody. Because rest assured, you've probably done something that's been embarrassing to you. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. If you stop giving the checks to the people, if you stop giving those little follow this link, those little counters. Okay, if you stop giving them to the ones that are posting negative stuff, people will start posting more and more of the positive things. Okay, this is one of the biggest things we have to look at. Christine, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, the nice part about it is this same thing I'm talking about. I have the same conversation with virtually any other species I talk to. And yes, I do mean not only from a standpoint of aliens or ancient races, but also when I'm talking to cats, when I'm talking to elm trees, okay, when I'm talking to the grass. These are all species that all communicate. They just communicate in different fashions. Derek's going, me and my son are watching sometime 2016 animated movie about kids in town have a town-wide snowball fight. Now, that's one of these things. That's a fight that you look at going enjoyable if you're in a town that's safe. And what I mean by that, I grew up in a town where when it got cold, I remember when it got into the winter, because I lived on the coast. Many times you take a snowball and you pack it together, and I watched this happen. Somebody fired a snowball at the side window of a parked car. The snowball, because of the fact it was wet snow, went right through the window. I don't know. I think I saw that one years ago there, Chad. In the movie we're talking about is Snow Day. Okay. To me, that is not a Christmas movie. Okay. I don't like fall. Fall I keep hating. The fall never bothers me. It's that sudden landing that bothers me. But when we take a look at the things that put a smile on your face, I mean the things that don't hurt or embarrass other people. If you desire this world to shift, yeah, I understand that. Like, we cool down to 100 degrees now. I mean, we're only at the beginning of July and we're already breaking 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Today we were at 37, I think, in Celsius. Okay, and we're not even into the hot part of the year. It gets worse from here. This is why I've shifted over. I don't drink as much coffee anymore. Primarily because it's way too flaming hot right now. No, that noise you hear in the background is a fan. I really don't. We've got an air conditioner in the house, but the thing cools a 4-foot area right at the wall that it's sitting on, and that's it. I live in an apartment. I've thought about getting an air conditioner, but the one thing I do find is with the temperature high. Okay, if number one, I handle the heat better than many. Okay, I'm used to it. I deal with it well enough. I just keep a fair chunk of water in my system. But no, the other thing I look at where it comes to air conditioning, keeping the air moving does cool it down. But here's a real inexpensive air conditioner for you guys. And this is one I grew up finding out about. Take a gallon bucket, the type that you buy for ice cream. And that's not a bad idea, You take a gallon bucket, fill it with water, put it in the freezer and freeze it. Now you take that bucket of water. If you don't have an air conditioner, or for that matter, even if you do, take that bucket of water, set it in front of a fan, and let the air flow over top of the ice of the block of ice. All of a sudden, you've got cooler air. And I'm sitting here going, I could have done that a long time ago. So I think I don't think. Well, quite often I don't think. When you look at it, you've got to have the freezer running anyway. Okay, if you've got a freezer, you've got to have it running to keep your food good, to keep your food safe. So, take a little bit of room, and especially if you don't have an air conditioner, take room in your freezer, even if it is your fridge freezer. Take a gallon bucket, fill it with water, let it freeze solid, and put it in front of your fan. Okay, it will help bring the temperature down and bring the humidity up at the same time without driving your power bill up any more than you're going to anyway. Joe goes, that's the thing with Facebook. I'm friends on there with some people. So to put those posts I don't comment on. I just ignore those kinds. I absolutely agree with you, Joe. I don't fault people for posting them. I just don't repost them myself. And I encourage you as individuals to stop posting the negatives. Okay, to stop looking at the ones that say, hey, here's a wardrobe fail these people didn't want you to see. Okay, put yourself in their shoes. Okay. And if you're of the religious mind, okay, Yeshua himself said when they went to stone the young lass for all sorts of things, I believe it was adultery, they were going to stone her. And he walks up and he himself, who everybody pretty much puts on a pedestal, he picked up a stone, looked at it, looked at the young lass, and goes, let ye who have not sinned cast the first stone. Even the guy put on the biggest pedestal in existence took that stone and set it back on the ground and walked off. You have the same option. Yes, there's a staggering amount of people out there that are posting things and ads that say, hey, buy this new fandangled little trinket with a new little bulb that's red instead of green. You need this. No, you don't. Okay. Now, I have gone into the 21st century essentially kicking and screaming, but I'm on a computer right now, and I'm not saying they're not useful. Okay. I like the luxuries in life. I like the finer things, not the least of which is a solid roof over my head. But when you're looking at this, and again, like I said, I'm not a millionaire, but again, I turned around and was at the grocery store. Somebody was having trouble with buying their own groceries just to get by. Now, this is an appalling situation. You know, when you think about it, food banks are throwing food, or grocery stores are throwing food out. They're not permitted to turn it. In many cases, the law says you can't turn it over because some genius goes and eats something, gets a bit of a stomach ache because they ate something they shouldn't have, and it's right there, you shouldn't do it. They did it and then turn around and sue the company. Now, this sort of lawsuit is just absolutely frivolous in my eyes. Yeah, what do we got here? Derek goes, always good to have movie family night, especially when it means especially when little man's tummy is upset. Absolutely. You know, the neat part about that is when you raise the vibration in a house, people start to feel better. And doctors came up with it a long time ago. We give you a placebo pill, your body will heal faster. Okay. Same, and Christine's going, did you give your son a magic penny to help it go away? Malou, how you doing? Glad to see you could join us. Yeah, the whole thing, the whole way society is being built is very simple. Humanity has, in my opinion, lost its humanity in a lot of ways. But like I said, 90 to 95% of people out there are decent individuals doing your best to turn things around, to replicate the positive side. Okay. Yeah, Derek's going, the way our house is set up, we have to have two air conditioners. One of them is for half the house, the other is for the other half. Well, yeah, and I do agree with you wholeheartedly. It can get to be, it can get that way. From my standpoint, I've got the air conditioner I've got in my apartment. I've never turned on. I've been here for 13 years. I never even plugged it in. I walked in, unplugged the air conditioner, covered it up with decorations, and walked away. Never turned the thing on. When we're looking at changing the world, take a look at your world. And this is why you're seeing things shift here. Okay? Because I looked at it and went, I'm not content with the way my life is set, so I'm clearing out the energy. But like I said, I was at the grocery store again today, and somebody was having trouble. Now, I'm no millionaire. Okay? I turned around and picked up a bill for somebody else's groceries. Why? Because I could. Okay. I got a really neat piece of information yesterday. Okay, the government may just come through and give me a hand for a whole lot longer than what I was thinking. As in, I may be able to get assistance for about the next 3 years. It will require work on my part. Absolutely. You know, and this is the same thing you've got the option on. If you're not content with the way your house is running, it is time to make a change. If you're not content, like I look at the way society is running and going, okay, I just took my bill, my overhead, okay, or more to the point, I took my hourly rate and dropped it again. Insurance or not insurance, inflation is causing money into the prices to keep climbing. What am I doing? And this does not make me better than anybody, although I do hope that some of you that have a business actually pay attention to this. Okay, what I end up doing is I'm bringing the cost down. Okay, whereby individually I'll be able to help more people, I do hope. I just sent out a bunch of reconnection letters to people that I used to be a consultant for, but they lost contact with me, quite frankly, because the company they worked with that they used to contact me through closed. But any house that you've got, clear the clutter out of it. The clutter slows the energy flow down. And on top of it slowing the energy flow down, because the energy flow and the airflow is dropping, your temperature in your house is going to climb. This is just a matter of aerodynamics. I think that's the word. Okay, somebody out there has a better word for it, but you get the idea. Okay, so what we have to do is start really focusing on just exactly who we are, what we are sharing, what we are spreading. Are you taking the time to even say hi to somebody? Like if you're walking down the street and you see a homeless person, okay, there's an old saying, there but for the grace of God go I. Well, I'll tell you, if it weren't for my stubborn streak and my own willingness to sacrifice some of the things that I desired in life, I'd have ended up on the street. Oh, I'm looking at what's going through the chat room here. Something else you can do to bring the temperature in your house down, okay, is if you've got multiple rooms you're not in, keep the doors closed. Okay, like for instance, in my bedroom, I leave the window, like in this room, quite seriously, my bedroom, my office, I've got the door over there closed, and I leave my window open. Now, of course, with the fan running, the hot air is getting cycled out. Okay, now it'd probably work better if I had it right in the fan, but I'm right in the window, but what the heck. Yeah, Derek, where are we here? Skip the Malugos. It's the best feeling to throw out old stuff that's just clutter. Absolutely. I am keeping the stuff that is childhood keepsakes and what have you. I am absolutely keeping them. Okay. But the stuff that I know I'm not going to use again is being shipped off to other people. I'm either giving it to people that know they can use it or dropping it off at a secondhand store. Yeah, they'll make money off it, and I just drop it off and walk away. But it gets it out of my house. Okay, this is why I've lost so much of the junk that I've got. Or more to the point, so much of the junk that I had. Now, when we take a look at where your life is, okay, I watched through the chat room here, and I've heard people say whether it's cross chatter in a chat room, on what you've got is you've got trolls in there striving to disrupt the flow. Okay, I look at it going, no, you guys are actually striving to help each other. Okay, and by the way, somebody asked me last night on Spaced Out if I was writing any interactive books. Okay, any books requiring dice. Bearing in mind I am a gamer, I've got science fiction books coming out. You're more than welcome there, Derek. I do appreciate it. When you take a look at it, they asked me, am I writing any? I started this morning. Now, it's on the first one I put out is only going to be a small one. Okay, but I have come to the conclusion that the little books I'm looking at are the ones that are going to make the cash flow. Okay, it's the same as any business. You always look at things that you can make a deal and that you can turn around and make work. Okay, I haven't figured out all the odds and ends. This is why I asked and why I approached the government and this government sponsored agency to give me a hand with marketing. I am learning, but I would love to jumpstart it a little quicker than what I'm going and than what it's happening right now. Okay, I know for an absolute certainty with what I've already added to the newsletter, I know for an absolute certainty the August edition is going to be larger. Okay, and large, a bigger newsletter does not mean it's better, but I'm not putting the negative side in by any functional stretch. Nathan goes, a creative and skilled dungeon master can take any creature from any resource. Race of the Worlds is in my mind. Yeah, and any other books and put them in a game. Yes, absolutely you can. Any sort of a functional game master. We've got one guy that is striving to become a game master, and I will tell you his storytelling ability is limited when you compare him to people that have done it for a while. But we're still going to give him a chance. Christine is just saying, for a week or more now, I've been cleaning out old boxes, bags of paper, and junk from my last move. I've separated out as a shred, keep, and throw away. Thank you so much. I'm glad I inspired you there, Christine. I look at it and go, what we have to, what we've got to look at is the stuff you're hanging on to doing you any good? Is it helping at all? Or is it something that you can live without? One rule of thumb that I came to was if you've got a box that you haven't been into for more than a year, okay, it may be time to get rid of it because clearly you don't require it. The boxes that you watch for, childhood keepsakes, certainly you may not be into them. Okay, but keepsakes are still memories that some people like to hang on to, myself included. Okay, now granted, I had a tiny little guillotine a while back that I ended up getting rid of. Yeah, that's what I'm finding. I've got boxes over here I just can't go through. Christmas is another one. Now, of course, your holidays people have Christmas decorations for. Well, the neat part of it is I had enough Christmas decorations that I could have decorated the apartment block. Never mind my apartment building. So last year when I got done setting up Christmas, I went, okay, these decorations are not going to be used again. They're gone. Okay, and yes, I do favor the antique and the homemade ones. Okay, my youngest son has made a lot of homemade decorations, and we use those on the tree faster than we use the newer ones. But I've been getting rid of them left, right, and center, and I'm going to lose a bunch more. I think I've got they're in boxes of 24, so I've got about 6 dozen decorations that are going out the door before I get through the summer. Okay, but that's because I'm not going to be using them. I don't require them, cluttering up the place, blocking the energy flow. But again, I'm looking at it going, if it's not helping my health, if it's not helping the energy flow, and I will tell you, when your air circulation isn't there, okay, the temperature in your house is going to climb. That's just the way that reality works. And again, if you can, when you're talking to your neighbors, okay, share this kind of information with them. Okay. And by the way, on that note, which is just something that dawned on me again, brain goes into gear and mouth goes in right behind it, and I think later. If you're getting a copy of the newsletter, okay, absolutely feel free to share it. Okay, feel free to hand it off to a friend to somebody you meet, a friend, a stranger, whatever. If you give yours away and you still desire a copy, drop me a line. I'll ship you another one. Okay, it's just that easy from my end. Okay, because what I'm looking at is I am no longer interested in participating in this thing about let's spread the negative news, let's make everybody depressed. Okay, yes, I do have a section in my newsletter for negative news. Okay, and I'm sure those of you that got the newsletter saw just exactly how I handle that. I'm also not a sports fan, but I did put a sports section in there. Of course, in all fairness, yeah, Christine's going, I do keep keepsakes, cards. I can't let go of some of them. Yeah, understandable. And there are things that happen even when somebody gets divorced. And I've been counseling people going through divorces for literally decades. Even when you have a marriage that collapses, okay, even then there are positive things that came out of it. Especially those of you, in my opinion, if you're in a marriage or in a relationship where a child came out of it, well, guess what ends up happening? You had something positive come out of it. Derek's just bringing us up to speed here. The man that lives with us keeps his record. He still has all his checkbooks from the 90s. He saves everything. I used to. I really did. I had all of my records, everything, back into the late 90s until about 2 months ago, and I went, I don't require it. It's gone. And I wiped everything off literally to the end of 2021. Okay, and I just went, I'm not interested in living in my past anymore. Okay, don't get me wrong. I do have an ex-wife. We still get along. When when I was younger, everybody was told, keep your records way back. And some of it I do agree with. Okay, I absolutely agree. I've kept all of my yearbooks. Okay, and absolutely I encourage you to do so. But some things you just look at going, I no longer require it. Okay, I've got a bunch of canning stuff at home, but I know for an absolute fact I've hung on to it for 10 years and not got back to canning. I'm not going back to canning anytime soon. Freezing, I will. Okay, and like I said, I usually build up I'll do up a slow cooker of a rice pilaf type setup, and then freeze it. Okay, now yes, absolutely. If I have a power failure, I'm going to lose a lot. Absolutely. The one thing we have to remember: the past is not coming back. Okay, yes, we will get back to old fashions. It's had to old fashioned styles. This seems to happen every 30 years. So yeah, if you hang on to something long enough, it'll come back in fashion. Okay, I love the post I saw one day about 3 weeks ago. Somebody posted on Facebook that fashion comes back into play every 30 years. He goes, I just can't wait for honesty, chivalry, and camaraderie to come back into fashion. Absolutely, Tony. All I require from you is an email address. If you're looking for the email copy, I just require your email address. If you desire a hard copy, I require a physical address. Other than that, there is never going to be a cost to it. Okay, that's the easiest way I can put it. Now, just to make certain that it pops through in the right place, so that I don't lose track of it, this is the email address to send it to. Because sending it into the chat room, I don't always catch it. Okay, but two things this email address is for. One, if you desire a copy of the newsletter, absolutely drop me a line there. Let me know who you are, and I will get the newsletter to you. In all fairness, because we're talking email I will get out before the end of tonight. If it's mail, it'll end up going out tomorrow. I just print it off and pop it in the mail. Okay, but again, this is a question of I'm not there. Oh, well, that's Skip to Malou. If I remember correctly, You're over in Denmark, are you not? Okay. And with that in mind, I don't care, I don't care if it goes to an email or if I send by mail. For me, understand this is a business thing. Okay. I will send you a hard copy. It'll take a whole lot longer to get to you, but I will quite readily send you a hard copy. And again, yes, I realize you're in Denmark. That doesn't matter to me. I'm still not going to be charging you for it. I will tell you this, though. The books, on the other hand, getting them to you if you're looking down that road are a little bit more, are a little bit more expensive. And where are we here? Oh, we have people coming through the door here. Did I miss? No, I saw Tony coming in. And Ken, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, I've got a real simple message, and you can blame somebody else for this. Okay, but blame me for it. I don't care. I'm the one doing it. Okay, but first thing in the morning when you wake up, I'm encouraging you, make it a habit. Don't even bother listening to the news until at least 2 hours after you get up. Okay, preferably, well, at least an hour. Get up, listen to something positive, whether it's a positive podcast, whether it's listening to music, doesn't matter. Leave the news and the mainstream news alone, at least for the first hour when you get up. Okay, you will find your energy levels climb a lot faster. Matt Geek, how you doing? Glad you could join us. The nice part, and Tony, I noticed you're in England. To me, welcome aboard. Okay, I am still quite willing to take the newsletter and pop it into the mail, even to England, even to Denmark. It doesn't matter to me if it's going to Australia. It's the same price. So many people look at things and go, it's going to cost more because you're going further. No, it's not. In the case of the newsletter, it just won't. In the case of the books, absolutely it will. Now I'm not saying bad news doesn't happen. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you right now, bad things happen. A neighbor of mine just lost her husband. Okay, suddenly, young chap, one of the nicest people I knew in the area, but he was gone overnight. It's just like instant. And like I told his parents, the only benefit there is it was immediate. Okay, like there was no drag. He got hit by a car, and he was gone. Now, do I ever listen to the news? No. My son will come out and go, "Oh, you gotta look at this, Dad." And it's somebody going, "Oh, I did this, and this bad thing happened, and this genius is trying to create a problem." And I look at him and go, is there a reason that you're showing this to me? I like the idea. It's funny, Derek. I mentioned I was going worldwide, and I think it was Joe out of Australia. He goes, Keith, I get your newsletter. You're already global. What I'm looking at, and I know this is egocentric in a way, but I am looking at getting this newsletter, which will become a free magazine. I'm looking at getting it global, as in I'm going to have to hire people to print the dang thing and move it out. Okay, and I got no problem with that. Nathan goes, we have the now only. We don't know if it'll be here tomorrow. Yeah, pretty much. I love that way of looking at it there, Nathan. And I mean, there was a saying when I was growing up that went, today is the tomorrow you talked about yesterday, and today is the yesterday you will talk about tomorrow. But the only time you can ever do a thing in your life is right here, right now. And this is why I am pushing as much as I am lately. Like I told you guys, I finally got to the point of going, I don't want to be in the spotlight. I really don't. I never desired to be on a pedestal. And then one gentleman looked at me one day and he goes, Keith, he says, understand, you cannot stop people from putting you on a pedestal. The problem arises when you start looking at yourself as though you're on a pedestal. You know, Nathan goes, this is why I can barely stand waiting on parts. Like I look at things, and when people, and let me just take a peek at something because I know I've got it around here. Not over there. Let's take a look at this. Move it out of my way. Because here's the thing that I look at. Where it comes to shipping things out, I give myself 3 business days if I have to deal with the mail, or even if I don't. I give myself 3 business days in order to give it so that I don't overstress myself. And rest assured, it's pretty easy for me to overstress myself. Looking in here, what do I got? Oh, bonus. Pop my email open, and the first thing that shows up is somebody sent me money. I like this kind of a day. And we double check when one person sent me money. That's always nice. Oh, okay. I will have to answer those. I've got some emails here I'm going to have to go through. But just checking my spam, because sometimes people's stuff ends up in my spam. I only just discovered this, by the way, about a week ago. So I've been going into my spam regularly. So, I mean, I'm looking at going, oh, here we go. Chad goes, I haven't been in the chat because you motivated me to start washing dishes. Yeah. And then, of course, Chad goes, then he continued with the rest of the kitchen. So I will happily take credit for you getting your house in order. Quite happily, in a manner of speaking, or more to the point, taking credit for motivating you. If I can get people to stand up when you get out of the stream, get up and do something that is productive in your life to make your life better, my job's done. I used to look at it and go, chaos, bedlam, pandemonium, my job's done, I'm out of here. Okay. And in the gaming world, I do that a lot. Joe is asking what causes a person or a family member to be flat out a mean person or mental, and they're not even on anything to make them that way. The answer to that, Joe, in all fairness, is the energy in the atmosphere. Now, sometimes it's a genetic hiccup. Okay, but more often than not, if the people have, and I mean, when I say the people, I don't mean your household, but the people that the individual is around. If he or she is listening to who shot who ripped who off, and let's celebrate this person. They got a massive lawsuit. I mean, there was a huge spread decades ago. This woman, okay, she burnt herself on hot coffee from a McDonald's drive-thru. She ended up winning $16 million. Now, that lawsuit, in my opinion, should have been thrown out, and her forced to pay the court fees for setting it up. Because the big problem with that particular lawsuit, first, distracted driving is illegal. Okay, you get fined for distracted driving. Now, to this end, drive-thrus, in my opinion, shouldn't be there, period. But people are so caught up on the idea of getting things in a hurry, nobody wants to slow down. So first of all, she buys a coffee to get herself distracted, and she ends up spilling it in her lap, and then blames McDonald's, okay, for spilling it and for her spilling her own coffee. Now, they settled, from what I remember, they settled it simply because it was less publicity. Well, I like the way somebody else put it. Bad publicity is still publicity. But when you're surrounding yourself with negative energy, and this can happen by being out in the physical world, just simply listening to people going, I'm not happy because I didn't get my fries at 1 second after I ordered them. Okay, this is absolutely garbage that is causing the problem. Okay. Nathan's going, I know that case. It was real. The coffee maker malfunctioned. Oh, okay. See, and again, but now taking that into consideration, okay, it was an accident. I have no doubt she hurt herself. You know, and yeah, there's always a staggering amount of misinformation. You know, and unfortunately, like I said, I don't go down and check with the other people, so I get a bunch of misinformation. I got it. I used to run a show over on KGRA on that radio station. I've got nothing against them at all. On that station, on that particular show, I had a member of the Roman Catholic Church, well placed member, and a well placed member of the Church of Satan on the same show. And I was under the same misguided information that most of you probably are regarding the Church of Satan. But he corrected me. He goes, here's the reality behind it. And I changed it right off the bat. Where do we go here? But no, the reality is, Joe, because of the amount of greed of, hurry up and get things, you have to have immediate gratification. This wears on many people, and it becomes even worse if the person is an empath and doesn't know it. Okay, because they will react to the negative energy around them. If somebody's having a bad day, they will react to it. Now, like I've mentioned, I mean, we could just complain day in and day out for the way restaurants and fast food joints go. One thing you have to remember about fast food, okay, you see the people cooking. What you don't see going on in a restaurant may just scare you even more. Now, that particular one, Nathan, hopefully, you know, yeah, spoiled kids, kids died from misinformation, blame Jack in the Box. You know, and, the reality of it is that this happens way too frequently. And this is why I say, and by the way, Nathan, thank you so much for pointing out about the misinformation regarding McDonald's. I mean, I knew what the news had said, but like I said, I don't go back. But I'm quite willing. Now, Nathan, never, ever, ever, in my opinion, apologize for getting specific. Okay, yo, if it didn't derail it, I mean, I like the fact that you went, here's the reality behind it. It's still, in my opinion, realistically, it's still decades in the past now, I think. Okay, and there's still nothing we can do about it. But the point being, many of the lawsuits out there, many of the laws out there don't make practical sense. But don't take my word for it. Do your own research. We desire this world to turn around. All I can do is say, this is what I'm seeing. If my information is mistaken, absolutely, I encourage you to speak up like Nathan did and go, this information is missing. Okay. Sometimes I'll look at it and go, yep, but the point still stands. Somebody told, I've run into that for years. And do I make any bones about it? No. I'm not perfect. If I were perfect, rest assured I wouldn't be stuck on a backwoods mud ball. I have seen this society over the centuries go belly up doing exactly the same sort of things it's doing now. But I'm a firm believer that working together, we can change that from happening. It can be turned around. There's no question there. Now, if I go refresh that, yeah, I've got emails I got to go through. There's a bunch of reconnection letters that I have to send to the States. I did all the ones to Canada I had. They're already on their way to different parts of the world, of Canada. Okay. Joe goes, the reason for that particular question, my mother is 73 years old. She's not on anything. And my dad is 74. Okay. She's my mother, but she's not right in the head. Do understand something else that can cause that. When you and I appreciate the clarification because I'm quite happy to give you more details on it. The fact she's 73, okay, and all older people don't go through this, but as you age, your mind, the synapses in your mind do give way. This is just one of these things that happens, and the reason it happens is the amount of toxin in the air that your mom is breathing, in the food that she's eating, and that's no fault of yours, your mom's, or your dad's. And by the way, I really do feel for you, and for that matter, I feel for her. Do your best to cope with it. I know you are, and I know you wouldn't ask this because you were trying to pick a fight. You're asking this because how do you help a woman that you care about when they're going through this kind of mess? The problem that you're running through, and this is something you can do at her age. She's pretty much on a bit of a hiccup, okay, because changing 73 years of bad influence is hard to change. It can be, the principle behind it is the same as changing a 5-minute habit. But the reality is, she spent her entire life having things build up until they finally broke. Okay. And you take a look at it. You look at a dam, it takes years to build it. And in a dam, when you're building it with concrete, I really think that the dam builders should take a look at the beavers' methods. They'll build them overnight. Now, there's a workforce for you. Humans don't build like beavers. But when you're dealing with people at that age, unfortunately, their ability to adjust to a changing world is not well developed. Okay, you got to remember, everything up. Hold that thought for just half a second. I'll be right back. Told you I'd be right back. The nice little live thing is my bell and my door rings and I have to make sure that I know what's going on. Welcome to live feed. Okay, but when we're looking at the way the world is, people as you get older get stuck into, yeah, sometimes that is, I've had that happen in a manner of speaking. My phone rings and you're going like, nobody's there. Of course, my other half has a bigger problem. My phone can be sitting over there, and this phone, while it's sitting over there, will turn around and phone somebody. I get a kick out of it because my other half, I told her when I first met her that this sort of thing happens. And then about 6 months ago, the phone rings and it's sitting on the dining room table. So I'm calling, I hear a ring and I'm hearing this, hello. And I'm like, hi, give me half a sec, I'm coming. So, of course, I pick up the phone and she goes, where were you? Why didn't you answer right away? I said, I was at the back of the house. The phone was on the dining room table. And she goes, you told me that, but I'd never seen it before. This is the first time it's ever happened. But why did it phone me? I said, I don't know. It wanted to talk to you. Now we just look at it going, it's just normal. Now, to me, that's normal. But to somebody that's in their 70s, okay, it is a normal thing that changed time when they were younger. If you look back, they're 70 now, okay, you go back to the 60s, okay, things moved a lot slower. If you desired to meet with friends, if you were lucky enough to have a phone to phone them up, and most people in the 50s had the phones, but you phone them up and you say, let's meet at such and such a place. Nobody texted at the last minute and went, I'm not coming. You just didn't do it. You showed up. In today's world, it's so easy to go, change your heart, I don't want to be there. Okay, but when you're looking at people in their 70s, that's not quite as easy to work with. I had the other neat little fun part I had with this thing. I'm on the phone with it to my other half. And the phone I'm on phoned my little brother. And I mean, it's bizarre the way the world works for me. But my world changes faster than yours does. Okay. Primarily because I don't deal in the same time frame. I mean, I still have to cope with it. But people that are getting on in years, number one, they don't adjust to the changing technology as well as others. And it's not the negative things didn't happen when we were younger. It's that people didn't have the ability to spew the amount of negativity out that went through their minds. So you used to get a lot of people that were depressed in their own head, okay, stuck in negative loops, but they didn't spread it like a contagion. Now I will tell you this: before we get sidetracked into another problem with a pandemic, okay, and I'm talking about changing society now, not waiting another 10 years, but I'm going to encourage every one of you to smile. Okay, let's make this a global pandemic. You walk out the door, put a smile on your face. Okay, if you don't feel like smiling, force it. Okay, turn around, force it. Yes, it'll be a fake smile. It may feel wrong to you. If you really don't feel like you can smile, grab a little makeup paint and paint the smile. Yes, people may look at you a little odd, but the reality of it is the majority of them will notice that you're smiling. And that energy will pass on to the people around you. Same thing I note with people that are walking along and they're singing quietly to themselves. You know, and that's just it, Nathan. Smiling works incredibly well. You know, football goes. My mom leaves a water or a Gatorade out for the postal carrier. This is fantastic. Okay, I mean, let's face it. The postal carriers, they get a lot of flack. They do a lot of work in the heat, in the cold. You notice you still get your mail in the middle of the day in the dead of winter, no matter where you are. You're still getting mail on a regular basis. Okay, so leaving a water bottle out for them is absolutely a good thing. Okay, a smile as you're coming through the door. People are told customer service. When you watch somebody coming into your business, say hello as they come through the door. This is good business. Okay. When you're going out in the world, your business is you. Okay. When people are approaching you, put a smile on your face. Say hello. Now, you may not get a response from everybody. Okay. You may not get absolutely football. Good morning, thank you. Simple politeness. Okay. Simple what they used to call common sense. Tell you, you want you want an endangered species? That'd be it. Common sense. Okay. People I looked at somebody one day and I said, good morning. And he looks at me and he goes, don't tell me what to have, what kind of a morning to have. I'm like, okay, don't. Now I didn't say it to him, but I did think, well, walk out in traffic and get run over, but do it with somebody that doesn't like you. Not somebody that's going to take it personally. And rest assured, I don't tell people what I think a lot of the time, unless they make the mistake of asking or ticking me off. The reality is, like, I'll go down the street, and if I see the police talking to each other and they're not racing around because their job calls them away, I will stop and thank them for helping, even though I have not called the police in years. Okay. Matter of fact, the last time I called the police, it was literally an issue of it was either that or go to the hospital. I didn't like the idea of going to the hospital then, especially not in an ambulance. But by bringing back the idea, and this is why I say, let's start a pandemic. Okay, start smiling at everybody you see. 1973, the Carpenters put out a song called Up, Up with People. It's one of those few songs I absolutely encourage you to look up on YouTube. Okay. And if one of my moderators that's in there, that's in the room right now, want to look that up and pop a link in, that'd be great. Okay, but it's one of those songs that says it all. And I've made it very clear to people that I don't have a lot of patience for people. I don't leave the house for a lot of reasons, that being one of them. Okay, but we start changing things just with this little group. Okay, now you think about it, and this is going to sound real egocentric, and maybe I'm putting my foot in my mouth. Probably am. Okay, but 2,000 years ago, one guy had 12 people backing him up. Okay, to turn around and say, be nice to each other. That's all he essentially said. And today we have billions of people listening to people that have taken that message and turned it around and gone, fear everybody. I'm not sure how it got turned around. I do know it went sideways. Gordana is going, I had neighbors in Sarajevo, a couple with 2 little girls. They never said hi or good morning. 5 years like that. But they helped my girlfriend with 2 kids leave Sarajevo to safety. Oh, you never judge. I absolutely agree with you. I do. Even when people tell me that person is a bad person, I will take it into consideration, but I refuse to look down on them. I was dealing with a chap that was a high-ranking member of the Crips years ago, and he wanted to get out of the Crips. I didn't ask him about what all he'd gone into, what he had gotten into there. They absolutely do, Gordana. The unfortunate part is that we are taught on the surface, and I'll bring that into mind there. Oh, thank you very much there, Emmy. I do appreciate it. For those of you that are wondering, yeah, I will go on other people's shows. Absolutely. But, we take a look at the way the world is. Now, Ronald Reagan, way back in whenever the heck he was president, way back when Ronald Reagan was president, he made this comment. Maybe what we need is an alien invasion, a threat from off-world to get people motivated to work together. Tell you, take a community, any community at all, and have a natural disaster. You'll notice hurricanes, floods, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, none of these things bother checking to say who's got the most money or who voted for who. They take everybody out without prejudice. Okay, I will talk to people. I'm a recluse, yes, but I am doing my best to break that little thing. Okay, the reality of it is, it's amazing how many people, when life threatens, they won't ask, there's somebody struggling to survive. They don't go, hey, I know you're having trouble swimming, but did you vote for the same guy I voted for? Or do you go to my church? Because I'm just checking before I dive in to save you. Okay, people don't do this. You put a dangerous situation in place. You put high stress in the area, and people respond in the way they feel driven to respond. Okay. And this is what I like about some of the movies that you see. They show people doing things go right outside the norm. Joe goes, when you put both foots in your mouth too much, you just got to tell yourself, just be quiet, you're too stressed. Yeah. That's called self-imposed gagging, I think. I never question, am I going to put both feet in my mouth? Or put my foot in my mouth. I just question how I'm going to get the second one in there with it. And am I going to continue making mistakes? Probably. Okay. Am I going to do them because I know they're wrong or know they're not accepted? Probably. Okay, I can virtually guarantee it because I don't look at the world the same way other people do. But I will tell you, for everybody out there, you want to start changing the world. Take your news, and don't get me wrong, if you desire to listen to the news to keep an eye on what's going on, absolutely do so. Even if it's misinformation, it is what's going on. But be aware, everybody that ends up in the news, They are a person. And the information you're seeing may not be as accurate as you're being led to believe. But this said, do not listen to news before you've been up for an hour. Okay? To give yourself a moment, an hour to wake up, to get your head set into a positive mindset before you start bombarding it with the world's going to end. Because I will save you a whole lot of hassles. The world is going to end. It will come to a close. You will die, and it will not matter how much money you have. You will die. Okay? Now that we've got that out of the way, it's not a question of will you die. It's a question of how will you live. I've decided I've been a recluse for the last decade. Okay? Now it's time to come out and start saying, hey, I've done the decade reclusion or seclusion or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I was a recluse a decade before lockdown. So I really pulled off about 15 years where I didn't go out of the world. That's a quarter of my life where I didn't deal with people. Now I'm going, it's time to come out and start raising a little bit of a ruckus and go, okay, you guys are walking down a path. I know where it leads. Been there, done that. Yes, you can hide. You can put your head under the covers. You can hope the world goes away. I'm telling you, I did that for years. The world still continued on the path it was on. Your absence did not actually do what I went into seclusion. I went into hiding on the hope that that people in the world would wake up, that I wouldn't have this kind of a mess because I couldn't deal with it then. I come out of this seclusion. We come out of lockdown. I'm like, the world is still a disaster. And the only way that's going to happen is if people like myself, people like yourself, stand up and go, it's no longer acceptable to continue down this path. Yes, the system isn't broken. It has been twisted out of shape. Okay. And the people that are in positions of so-called power are using it for their own means. Okay. Let's face it. I've got a phone. Now they're up to the i15. I think it's the i15, maybe only the i14. I've got an iPhone, but I've got an i7. It still does the job. It's still, I can still phone people. People can still phone me. Okay. I can still text. So, do I need to listen to the company that says, hey, we got this brand new phone. It's only a year old. It's brand new. You need this. I get the same ads you do. Am I going out and buying an i15? Not a prayer. Okay, I went to the people that know tech. I went, look, this is what I require it for. What do I require? And the woman looks at me and goes, the i8. The iPhone, the i7 is overheating because it's running too much energy through it. I used to have an Android. Okay, football. I used to have an Android, but here's the problem. Okay, I had an Android phone. The company I bought it from, I paid for extended warranty. They wouldn't honor the warranty. I phoned the company. They wouldn't honor their manufacturer's warranty. So I dumped the phone and I picked up an iPhone. Football goes, yeah, Ken, you're absolutely right. I'm actually taking note of it at this point. Where are we here? And I think, who did I just see come in here? No, he's in England, that's right. See, right now, and I am looking to find where people come from on my own track record. Okay, right now this stream we've had people in the chat room. And if you're in a different country, absolutely, if you'd be kind enough to let me know. I'm in these countries. We've had people in the chat room, not all at the same time, but from Canada, from the US, England, Denmark, Australia, and Singapore. Okay, now if you're in another country, absolutely let me know. That would be great. I really would appreciate it. I'm trying to stay on top of that. Right now, the newsletter goes to Canada, the US, Australia, and Australia. Okay, I will send it to anywhere in the world. All I need is an email address or a physical one. Okay. So I'm just scanning back up here for a minute because unlike Dave, I don't track it as fast. Okay. The reality, where are we here? Joe's going, I'm not a practicing Catholic. I don't see anything wrong with, well, here's the thing. If you're treating people decently, okay, and this is directed to you, Joe, or anybody else that's in the room that is a Catholic or any other religion. If you're treating people the way you desire to be treated, you're being nice to people, okay, then frankly, you are doing exactly what you were supposed to do. What you're not doing is listening to the current rhetoric that seems to be, if you're not of this specific denomination or this specific religion, you're not worth my time. Yeshua said himself, love all my children as I love you. I saw a post in Facebook a while ago with that. Here's Yeshua sitting on the hill. He goes, love all my children, right? And one of the disciples goes, but what if they're black? Or what if they're Muslim? Or what if they're gay? And Yeshua looks at him and goes, did I freaking stutter? Okay, the term all means all. Treat people the way you desire to be treated. This is the message that was tried to pass on 2,000 years ago. Here we are again, striving to pass the same message. Okay, there's nothing, it also tells you, you don't have to go to a building that is called a church or a temple or a cove, or I was going to say a cove, but where, and I forget exactly what it's termed, but somebody will pop up with the noise, gathering with a coven. You don't have to do that. What is encouraged is that you respect the people around you, encourage the people around you to live a better, more accepting life. This is the thing that's got to start happening. Now, from my standpoint, it boils down to this. When I'm looking at it, and you will find, I will tell you this, in the newsletter, it is going out for free. But here's the thing. I am putting ads in it regarding my books, regarding that sort of thing that I'm working on, because with that, I will be able to take the money that generates from that side of it to actually continue producing things for free. And for those of you that have this brilliant idea that any of the psychics that are out there, they should, if it's a natural gift, they should do it for free. Ask yourself this. If they give it for free, how are they going to actually afford to put food on their own table? Okay. This is one of these things I look at. Derek, it's what they call planned obsolescence. The other thing you got to remember about technology is the technology is already, and check your own facts. My understanding is the technology is already 6 months out of date by the time it hits the market. Okay. Now, the Mac Geek's just saying we can learn from everybody regardless of their beliefs. Absolutely. Absolutely you can. And the reality of it is this, and I think I should get to that point as well. As a matter of fact, I do think I will do that. I know it hasn't been asked, but I keep looking for directions. Let me just take a look. Move that out of my way so I can actually see. So, what am I looking at here? Right now, we are on Saturday. Oh, boy, did we get sidetracked on that one. I will have to deal with that. As a matter of fact, I can sort of deal with that now, but what do we got? Monday is not listed. What time are we? Yeah, we got a little sidetracked today. I was going to be dealing with reincarnation. I will deal with that. We're going to deal with that again. Tomorrow is an open topic. Okay. But Monday, I'm moving it ahead. I'm going to put the primary focus on reincarnation on Monday. Okay, on reincarnation, why it's there and what have you. But that being said, on Tuesday, we'll be kind of discussing the Zeta Reticulans. On Wednesday is when I'm moving things ahead, and we will take a look at, quite literally, no, not on Wednesday, on Friday, next Friday, because we've relegated Friday for dealing with the paranormal itself. And this is one that's very important from my end. Okay, so on Friday, and yeah, this is a little bit of a heads up, but I figure that's not a bad idea. A little bit of a heads up. On Friday, I'm going to be discussing how you can tell if you're dealing with a true psychic or with a fraud. Now do understand, not all psychics are strong enough to be absolutely spot on. Very few are, myself included. Let me see here. Let me just scan through. Football's asking, do you know anyone in chat from another lifetime? Let me just double check. Let me see here. Just looking for names here. Given the way we connect, there's a couple I suspect, but I'm not 100% certain of. But the ones that I know now, I do know if LA Moon were to show up, okay, I absolutely know for an absolute confirmed, as close to confirmed as we're going to get, I absolutely was in a past life with her. Okay, no, I'm not going to tell you which past life. Let's get down here. In all fairness, Nathan, given the way we connect, I'd be inclined to say yes. Okay, can I confirm exactly which one? I have my suspicions, but without the chart to double check the years, I think, and I may be I know how to find it out in a hurry, and I couldn't do this before. Give me half a second. Oh, no. Guess I should give a last name there if I'm going to type somebody's name and go, when's their birthday? Really should include a last name. But in all fairness, Nathan, I suspect very strongly that the answer is yes. There we go. If I am correct, and I'm not going to pin it down, but if I am correct, okay, then frankly, we knew each other in the late 1400s. Okay, I would be inclined to say that would be the case. Okay, and no, I'm not going to give you the information. Here's why. Okay, until you come up with something where you can identify where I was or who I was or something to that effect. The reason I won't give you a direct, or anybody a direct answer as to which lifetime, is because of one little detail. Okay, if I tell you this is what I know, I'm immediately in danger of creating a false memory for you. Okay, and a lot of people that I'm running into, given the number of past lives I've had, this would not be a shock. I've documented my own. So if somebody comes up with something and goes, this is what I remember, this is about the year I was looking at, here's what I know. I'm in the process of hard copy documenting the different lives I've had that I recall. Okay. A lot of the people that I know that I came in contact with this lifetime that became good friends, you'll love this one. Okay. Give me half a second to just double check on the time frame again. Now what? There we go. There we go. A lot of the people that I became really good friends with this lifetime, quite seriously, I burned at the stake some 300 years ago. Okay, and talk about a heck of a way to make friends. This lifetime we get along great. But a lot of them I've ended up. As a matter of fact, the last that I told you guys the other day, I had to check on what a male witch was really called. Okay, I had that particular witch. I actually burned at the stake about 400 years ago. We've confirmed this in this event. Okay, so yes, some of you I may have past lives with. Wouldn't be a shock. Okay, there's a lot of people out there. Okay, as a matter of fact, I met one that when I knew her, and it would have been back in the 1200s, when I knew her, she was a goat. Okay, but, that being said, I get along with, I look at everybody as all sorts of things. Yeah, pretty much, Nathan. I'm glad you understand why I'm not going to give you a definitive. I've given you a ballpark that may help, but that's a pretty wide area. Okay, and you'll notice I didn't say what part of the world or what age I was or anything to that effect. And the reason for that is exactly that. And this is why I say on Friday when we move to the paranormal, I will point out what I see as an active psychic. I will point out ways to tell if you're dealing with a fraud. Okay, because I will tell you, from my standpoint, there's nothing worse. There's no problem with somebody being wrong. With somebody not getting everything on the money. There's no problem with that at all. Raven, how we doing? Glad you could join us. The reality of it is that it's time to start changing the way the world is running. Okay, if we leave it on the path it's on, do you remember the fall of Rome? I do. Going down the same road, same reason. Okay, the fall of the monarchies, I was there. Quite frankly, I remember being on the battlefield in 1066. That was fun. Not. Okay, this is where I get a lot of my attachment to. Like, I look at war and go, war is just wrong. But war is so disconnected right now, people don't seem to care. Not necessarily football. Okay. I mean, the reality is it's technically possible, but what you got to remember, when football is just asking, if you murder someone, will they murder you in another life? Not necessarily. Okay. Do not forget, you're in between lifetimes, you're saying things up, and somebody comes up to you and goes, I really want to experience the idea of being murdered, but I need to live the first 20 years of my life because I've got to get my young adulthood dealt with, my teenage years. After that, I need to be murdered. Okay, because I'd like to experience that. So you may be dealing, with the issue. Oh, bonus. And I will definitely give me 5 seconds and I'll deal with that one, Joe. You may be dealing with a murder that happened because either yourself or the person getting murdered desired to gain the wisdom of that experience. So maybe it was you that went, I'd really like to gain the experience around murdering someone in cold blood. You spread this out amongst the gala, and somebody comes up to you and goes, I got nothing better to do that lifetime. I really wasn't planning much, so let's give it a go. I'll facilitate you, and maybe we'll catch up later, and you can help me with an issue. Okay, so no, murder is not a categorical, you're going to spend the rest of eternity in hell. But I will tell you, hell is a wonderful spot to take a break in. I'm not sure that came out right. The hot tubs are way too hot. And I will tell you, their masseuses, it's great getting a massage, from a proper masseuse. Not so much fun when they take your liver out to massage it. But they will do that in hell for you without even thinking about it. But you're not automatically, just because you murder somebody. Now, bear in mind something very important. You murder somebody. I'm a firm believer that, this is something in today's world. This is just blanket wrong. Okay. This does not condone murder in any fashion. Heck, I don't condone sport hunting. Actually, I do. Okay, this is a little twisted, but I'm a firm believer, for those of you that are sport hunters, or that a sport hunter that goes, I'm going sport hunting, and all I want to do is I want to kill a grizzly bear, and I want to hang the head on my mantle. Now, there are sport hunters that do that, and I'm a firm believer they should be entitled to. But hear me out. Okay, I'm a firm believer, if you want to go out and kill a grizzly bear and hang the head on the wall and leave the rest of the carcass, appalling in my eyes. The only way I can wrap my brain around that is, okay, you want to do that, let's go for sport hunting. Here's some football armor, because they got more padding on them. A lot more. And here's a spiked club. You can bring that sucker down, be my guest. Okay, absolutely be my guest. My bet's on the grizzly bear. Same as a cheetah. You want to kill a cheetah just so you can hang the hide? Here's a motorcycle and here's a knife. The motorcycle's because you'll never catch a cheetah on foot. Ever. Okay, so we even the scales a little. Ultimately, I agree with you there, Skip. Skip to Malou goes, it's death to core. Here's my idea of a animal stuff. Okay, and I know people will do this. They'll turn around and they'll kill something and they'll get it stuffed like taxidermy. This is one of my favorite animals, and it is stuffed. Okay, now, never in its existence was it ever part of the Australian outback. In case you couldn't tell what that is, it's a platypus. I get strange stuffies. Okay, and yes, I still keep it. But that's my idea of taxidermy. You really want an animal in your house, that's the way to do it. A picture, whether it's a photograph or something that somebody drew, Raven goes, so is it wrong to take the life of one person who seeks to take the lives of thousands, maybe even millions of? Now, I am not going to condone one way, any way I look at it, I'm not going to condone taking a life. But does it make sense? And sometimes it's lesser of two evils. Absolutely. Would I go out and take the life of somebody? No. But I will tell you, war itself has never brought peace. Now, I was looking at something earlier here. Joe goes, that I said just a little bit ago, and I meant to get back to it. It's a good show topic for the future. Paranormal for beginners. And that said, because I can't see much of what I'm doing, primarily because I'm half blind to things. But we turn that fine thing on. I like having power. Besides that, without power, ain't no way I'm going on the internet. But we have, well, oh, that's what that is. Okay. Joe, we are starting, like I said, I'm going to book as far in down the road as within reason. But as it stands right now, okay, so I don't have to figure this out later, is we will be dealing with paranormal for beginners, as in adults or children. It doesn't matter which. If you haven't delved into the paranormal world, on the 21st, I've got it scheduled on my hard copy calendar on my tabletop. And that makes it easier for me to stay on time with it. Now, jumping back to this little issue, okay, I was originally looking at reincarnation, and I should have gotten into it a lot more, but I'm going to have to come back to it on Monday. Okay, But yes, I have moved it forward to make sure I get to it. So we get a lot of time there on past lives, why it comes about. Okay. Now, I will tell you this, going back to the other issue about war. War doesn't bring peace, ever. It brings quiet. Okay, it holds up technological advancement, it holds up societal advancement, and causes a staggering amount of pain. Okay, but the reality is the more people that can think, and this is where we have a problem. People are being taught, don't think, just learn to do what you're told. If this continues, does Rome ring a bell? Okay, or how about if we try that other wonderful little honeymoon hotspot, Sodom and Gomorrah? That was fun. Okay, the Exodus from Egypt, a lot of people got a lot of exercise, but the Egyptians did discover, and it has been proven, they did discover that swimming in armor doesn't work well. Okay, it's not a real enjoyable thing. Now, football's asking, do animals choose to be their pet? The answer to that is we have to go back prior to becoming an animal. The answer is yes. Okay, people, and this is why I say, whether you're dealing with a pet, a plant, I've got a plant, a real good friend of mine, Gordon, he lived with me for 8 years. Okay, he was a really good friend of mine. He was croton, which, by the way, a croton is a plant. He was also a coffee addict, by the way. But I still talk to him today. Now, he's been dead for 4 years. Okay, my own kids, when I had the stroke, they were more concerned with whether I was going to live than whether the plants were. But yes, animals choose to be and to experience becoming a pet. Well, yeah. Skip to Malou goes, he was a baby back then. It's weird people keep using that example to this day. Oh, yeah, Skip to Malou, I missed this one earlier there. Skip is saying, I hate Hunter's home decor. I don't see a point in hanging, animal decor like what used to be live ones. Like, let me show you something here. I'm not going to drag it down because the paint put it back up. But this here is a buffalo head. Okay. That thing is made out of plaster. Okay. I've got a deer head made out of plastic hanging in my front hallway. And again, this is what I talk about where it comes to nature. Okay. I like the representations of animals. I'm just not capable of carving right now. Okay. And this is the thing we have to look at. If we're going to change this world, it starts right now. Okay. And I am going to, the idea here, as soon as I get off this stream, which by the way is going to happen pretty quick. Okay. We've got new topics set up. Tomorrow is open. Okay. On Monday, we'll be dealing with reincarnation in a lot more detail. I agree with you, quite frankly, Raven. This is why I say mine are all plaster. They're all literally artwork. So from that end, let's see. On Monday, we'll be dealing in a lot more detail with reincarnation. On the 11th, which is Tuesday, we're going to take a look at the intentions of, and the whole aspect around the Zeta Reticulans. Now, with that in mind, again, if you like the stream, do give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. And until we meet again, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.